Hello everyone, and in today's video we are going to discuss the firing of Tucker Carlson. Now this happened a few days ago, might have been almost a week, but this is a very important development, and I'll get to that in a moment. But first, what is the mainstream media saying about why he got fired, and what is the truth? Now, first of all, Tucker Carlson, incredibly influential media persona, probably, arguably, the most influential on TV. Nobody has such high ratings as he does. The reason? Because he is honest. That's the reason. I'm going to be very frank with you. He speaks his mind. If you go to any other TV channel and any other TV host, they are scripted. They're heavily scripted. They toe a certain line, a certain ideological line that they are expected to toe based on the tone of the network, the tone of their bosses, etc. They're conformists, and he wasn't. Of course, we know what his ideology was. We know he was right wing. We know that he was against war. We know he was against the Russia hoax. We know he was against the vaccines and the lockdowns, etc., etc. I might get into that in a moment. But the specifics of what he stood for isn't as important as the overall generalization here, which is that he was freely offering his opinion without any restrictions and at the risk of pissing off the people in power. That's an important thing. It's undeniably so. I mean, even his detractors have to admit that this is true. And that's really, I think, why he had so many viewers, because that's what people want. People don't want predictability. Okay, why do we watch movies? Why do we love movies? Because we don't know what's going to happen next. Is the hero going to survive? Well, yeah, the hero is probably going to survive, but we don't know how, right? And people like unpredictability. We want to be informed. We want something useful. We don't want something that's predictable and we already know what the opinion is. And we also truly don't want sugarcoating. That's not what we truly want. A lot of times people think that that's what they want. They want like these feel good, the fireman rescuing a cat kind of story on TV. But that's not really what we want. Something to stimulate us and to get us to think and to provoke us. Not, I don't necessarily mean in a negative way, but provoke us in a positive way, like, challenge us. That's what people really want. After all, we are pretty intelligent species. We like to think, we like to, etc. And so I think the other news outlets were just boring, and that's why he was so influential. So the question, of course, arises: if he was so popular, and if viewers liked him so much, why was he fired? Interesting. Could it be that the two are actually connected? Meaning that because the very reason he was so popular, namely that he was willing to go against the grain, he was willing to challenge assumptions and preach against the powers that be, these very qualities is what got him fired, because the powers that be said, enough, we're not going to take it anymore. Bye-bye. And so the first thing I want to clarify in this department is that the powers that are promoting the things that he was criticizing are very, very powerful. These are huge, multi-billion, even trillion-dollar industries. Think about how much money and how much effort is being invested in promoting and building those things up. Think about the war. The military complex industry, military industrial complex, as they call it. It is huge. We're talking here hundreds of billions of dollars just in a single year. If you're talking about a 10-year plan, which is normally how budgeting works, etc., you're talking about trillions. And we all know this already, that the military industrial complex, they want war. They always want their weapons to be used, not just practiced on, so that the Pentagon buys more and feels the need to buy more. And that's how it works. The Pentagon, of course, also wants war because that's what makes them relevant. These are human beings. They have biases and they want to be relevant. They want to be popular. They want to be important. And if you're just sitting at home doing nothing, shuffling papers, you're not important. And so this is just the way the system works. There's a lot of money involved here. And then you go to the vaccine, to the pharmaceutical industry. Once again, you can argue all day long that the COVID vaccine was important. That it was that it was justified, making it mandatory, etc., etc. Of course, I'm against that, but it doesn't really matter. The point that I'm making here is that the pharmaceuticals thrive on this. This is their bread and butter. When the government makes a contract with them and saying, hey, we're going to give you billions of dollars to produce X amount of this vaccine, and we're going to make it, of course, mandatory that everyone buys it, hug and kiss. We love you. I mean, this is what they want. This is just a pipe dream come true for them. If it comes true, it's not a pipe dream. Sorry. This is a dream come true. This is their wildest wishes come to reality. When in no other case, in what other case did the government require people to purchase from pharmaceutical companies? Like, mostly it happens, it happens very subtle when people think that they need something because the doctors are recommending it, etc. But in this case, it's universal, it's mandatory. People are getting fired from their jobs. Everyone in the military was forced to take it. Think about that. And so anyway, so these are just the things, the money and the interests that are involved behind these policies that Tucker Carlson was criticizing. There's just some of them. Of course, there are others, but the point is that that's in my opinion the real reason he got fired, is because Fox couldn't take the pressure anymore. So specifically, who was the one, advocating against him and actually, pushing his termination? I don't know. I don't know specifically. Obviously, I don't know what person, but we also don't know what entity specifically as well. But it's fair to say that in general, that's the reason he got fired. Now, what did he not get fired for? Here is what the legacy media, who are themselves incredibly tainted on all those things that I just mentioned and are incredibly useless when it comes to disseminating information, because they just lie all the time or just withhold relevant information. But according to them, he was fired because the Dominion lawsuit. Okay, here's why. Okay, before I want to say two other things, and then I'm going to refute them. So the one thing is the Dominion lawsuit. So reportedly, allegedly, the logic here goes that because Fox was forced to settle for such a large amount, they are concerned that there may be exposure in the future for such a liability, and so we just want to get rid of the the loose cannon, so to speak. So we can't have such an exposure. We can't run a business like this. Another reason proffered was that that some type of email, derogatory, incriminating, or embarrassing email messages were being circulated, and the executive got wind of it, and they saw it, and they're like, oh, this is incredible. We can't, definitely, this is just a firing offense. I don't know the specifics, but there was some email messages were about to be exposed in connection with the Dominion lawsuit, which required discovery. So that's another thing that was being tossed about. And the third thing was that he was fired because, what was the third thing? Don't remember. What else did I read? Okay, I don't remember. But let me refute them. So, first off, number one, the Dominion lawsuit. That's not the reason he was fired. Why? I'm going to tell you why. Very simple. The Dominion settlement that Fox did makes no sense. I'm not sure if I did a monologue on this, but there's no logic. Watch Alan Dershowitz on this, because he elaborates on this at length. But even without Alan, it just makes no sense. In any universe, this settlement makes no sense. Think about this. In order for them to settle at half the amount that Dominion was suing them for, let's say, 1.5 billion. Remember, a lawsuit like this, the onus is on Dominion to prove to a court that they suffered damages due to libel. First of all, that libel existed. And in America, it's very difficult to prove because we have First Amendment free speech rights. But first, they have to prove that libel existed. And secondly, they have to prove the damages, that you actually damaged me to the tune of 1.5 billion. That's a lot of money. A lot of money. How much does the Dominion even make? How much is their revenue? How much is their profit? You can't, you have to prove that they damaged you to the tune of $1.5 billion in profit. That's how it works, not revenue, profit. That's how much you damaged me. How in the world would this have been provable? This is insane. The Dominion lawsuit, I just don't even want to go into this detail anymore on this because it's not directly relevant to the topic of this monologue, but the Dominion settlement makes no sense. No rational person would have settled. Again, this requires and should warrant a whole conversation unto itself as to why they really did settle. And unfortunately, regrettably, the information isn't out there right now, but it makes no sense. And anytime you have a piece of, a data point that is inexplicable, you can't make sense of it, then you can't premise other things on top of that because we just don't understand it. And so to say that that he was fired so that there isn't a repeat of this, I can't justify this. This is not a fair statement to make because we don't understand why they settled in the first place, because it makes no sense. And so therefore I'm going to dismiss this. That's not the reason he was fired. The internal emails makes also no sense because he was enormously influential, enormously popular. If everything goes well with him, they're not going to fire him over even if they were to be exposed, even if it's true that the Dominion lawsuit, the discovery in the Dominion lawsuit would have required exposure. By the way, because they settled, it would not have required exposure. So again, it doesn't make any sense. But even if it's true that they didn't want to settle, and these email messages were going to come out, and it is true they were going to be embarrassing to Fox News, so therefore you're going to fire him? Like there is no ready replacement for him. Realize that. It's not like they have a replacement plan that's going to, involve minimum disruption. There are millions of subscribers that are leaving Fox News right now. And to be honest, Fox News is just going probably to become like another MSNBC and CNN, very possibly, because he was the face of the maverick, of the iconoclast Fox News. And if that's what you want to get rid of, which appears to be the case, then you're, as they say in Yiddish, Os Kapelichmacher. You're not a hat maker anymore. Like, your relevance has ceased. And so you can't have your cake and eat it too. If you want to be establishment for all the benefits that accrue to you for being that, that's fine. But you're not going to have your viewers. And if you don't have your viewers, you're not going to have your advertisers. You're not going to have the influence, et cetera, et cetera. And so no, there's no way. I don't buy that any day of the week. I don't buy that. He wasn't fired because of internal emails. It doesn't matter. They say, how many embarrassing emails have been exposed on the U.S. government, for example? The Julian Assange emails, the Snowden emails and information. There's so much. Do we even know? If you ask the average person, how was the U.S. embarrassed by what Julian Assange revealed or by what Snowden revealed? They would be stumped. They don't even know the answer. People's attentions are very limited. And so, no, that's not it. So like I said, the reason he was fired is because of the previous things that I mentioned, is because he was anti-establishment, he was anti-pharmaceutical, he was anti-war, and all the other things he stood for. He basically crossed the line, and eventually they said, enough is enough. But this was a mistake nevertheless. Why was it a mistake? Because like I said, it's going to affect the brand. Fox News is no longer Fox News. Okay? Does that make any sense? That's an oxymoron, right? Fox News is no longer Fox News, meaning it's not what the image that it has so carefully crafted over the years as to what it stands for is. You can't fire a person like Tucker Carlson and retain that image, not even remotely. And like I said, if you had a replacement for him that was substantially similar, although it's hard to imagine anyone even remotely close, but let's say you did have somebody who could, light a candle to Tucker Carlson, then maybe you can get away with it, but they don't. Whom do you have? Nobody. And viewers are obviously pissed, and the jig is up. People know that the establishment media lie. It's been proven again and again and again. So yeah, so that's basically what I'm saying here. I think that that Fox News made a big mistake here, and I am predicting the. So my prediction is that a company like Newsmax or something else, and possibly multiple new media companies, will emerge, and many of them will be possibly internet based. They're not going to be traditional TVs anymore, traditional cable channels. Frankly, I don't think traditional cable channels are relevant anymore because a lot of people, especially the younger generation, they get their news from the internet, meaning they don't watch TV. Okay, it might be on a TV screen, a TV monitor, possibly, but it's coming from the internet, not from a cable news channel, not from a channel, not from a traditional channel. And so I don't think it's even relevant. Traditional channels are just not relevant anymore. So in a way, uh, the uh, the diminution of the of Fox News in response to Tucker Carlson's firing, their decline, I should say, it's a better word, diminution. Their decline following this event is inevitable. And this was just possibly just one symptom rather than like the thing, right? This is just a symptom of a general decline is that they're just basically giving up. They're raising the white flag. They're surrendering. Like we're just unable to compete anymore because because cable news is just irrelevant, and so we might as well not pretend that we're able to compete, and we might as well just give up. So I think this was meant to happen sooner or later anyway. And so now there's going to be a lot of people who are going to unsubscribe from Fox Nation because of this. But most importantly, cable news. The people who are going to watch, maybe there are going to be some people who are going to continue to watch, but they're definitely not going to get any new people tuning in. And it's just the demographic that's going to watch is just going to slowly die out, and they're going to be completely irrelevant. And that's going to be the end of it. So yeah, I think Fox News is doomed at this point. That's truly my opinion. I don't think that they can recover from this. Um, that's just my view. Like liberals will never watch Fox News. They have just this mind block. Okay, for them, Fox News is synonymous with Nazi or something like that. Like it's a villainous entity. So regardless of what they have to offer, the left is never going to watch them. So you need your right wing audience. You just need that. You need your neutral audience. And you're not going to have that either because now you're becoming just like MSNBC and CNN. So what's the point? There's plenty of other alternatives. Why would I choose Fox News? So I don't think they can survive. I don't know. Prove me wrong. Let's talk in 3 or 4 years from now. And I think that, yeah, that's it. It's over. So thank you for watching and enjoy your day.